You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, it looks like as we approach free agency very quickly, tomorrow we get the games starting. The free agency time period will open up. The tampering period is a legal tampering period will open. In other words, we'll start finding out where guys are going real damn fast. To be real, tampering's going on right now. All right, let's just be real, because it's always funny how when the tampering period opens, deals are getting announced 4 seconds later. What does that tell you? Teams are talking to agents through back channels and just talking to them. I mean, I don't even know why they bother with a quote-unquote legal tampering period, but because they do it in part because they tie a television show to it, right? And so, anyway, it gives the NFL Network a ton of content. It should give me some content this week. Browns quarterback situation. The options are starting to shrink. All right? They are starting to shrink. We've got a couple of quarterbacks that looks like they're probably completely off the table. And we know for a fact one of them is completely off the table now. And it's somebody that, frankly, I thought they could very well sign. Like I thought if they went to get a veteran quarterback, Tyler Huntley made a lot of sense because of Todd Monken and the Ravens. The Browns won't be signing him because the Ravens gave him a pretty good deal this morning. Tyler Snoop Huntley is signing a 2-year deal worth up to $11 million to return to the Baltimore Ravens. That's per Drew Rosenhaus and, of course, by way of Adam Schefter. So, that's very interesting. He'll be backing up Lamar Jackson. He began last season as number QB3, but he moved to the primary backup after Cooper Rush struggled in 2 starts. It is very strange how Cooper Rush all of a sudden just looked like trash. Like he looked like, at one point, Cooper Rush, you thought, is this guy like a journeyman starter, a bridge quarterback? He played well at times with the Cowboys. Oh, he didn't with the Ravens. So that's going to be an interesting name that's going to end up floating around out there. Huntley, 28, got his career back on track in his 3rd stint with the Ravens last season. He was 2-0, filling in for Jackson, leading Baltimore to wins over 2 playoff teams in the Bears and the Packers. The Ravens had signed Rush to be Jackson's primary backup last offseason and added Huntley to the practice squad after he was cut by the Cleveland Browns. And again, a lot of people thought, okay, there's some common ground there between Todd Monken and obviously Tyler Huntley, familiar with the Browns organization. He's off the table. He's off the table. And this is the sporting news. It looks like a guy that some Browns fans wanted the Browns to take a run at. It looks like Malik Willis is not going to happen either. All right? It looks like that's not going to happen. My guess would be 2 things. Once again, Deshaun Watson's contract, even though they restructured it, is going to be cost prohibitive in the QB market, in all markets, frankly. Because they got to address linemen. I know there's some fire around Tyler Lindenbaum. He's going to be the prize center on the market and the Browns because of Todd Monken's connection to the Ravens. So there's a lot of people that's going to be watching that. But Malik Willis was thought to be an option there. All right. Daniel Olafusi of ESPN projected that the Browns would pass on Malik Willis this offseason for many reasons. But the main one was a huge $46 million problem that makes adding the QB tricky to justify. Quote, between Deshaun Watson's $46 million salary, needs elsewhere, and Willis's slim resume, Cleveland may not have an appetite for Willis's salary demands. There's a lot of fire that he's getting at least $50 million out there. And some people are saying he could get $30 million a year on a multi-year deal. When dealing with such an issue, the contract Willis is looking for, which could get close to $30 million, he's saying total. No, it's going to be more than that. The least I've heard with Willis is 2 years, $40 million, and it's been more like 2 years, $50 million. And there's some rumors it could get up to $30 or $32 million a year for Malik Willis. So look, salary was always going to be an issue here with Willis and the Browns. Now, Kyler Murray, okay, $1.3 million because the Cardinals are paying most of that salary. All right, in the betting markets, I believe the Browns are third or fourth on the favorites list for Kyler Murray. By the way, Vikings are now a heavy favorite in the betting market. So that tells me that when the free agency period opens, there may be an announcement that Kyler Murray's a Viking close to immediately. That's my guess. Now, you're going to have Russell Wilson floating around out there and some guys like that. There's talk of the Browns adding a veteran, but there's also talk that they could draft somebody. I've said I heard on ESPN Cleveland radio the other day, they said that Todd Monken and Carson Beck were only together for a half a year or one season. It's incorrect. All right. They were together for 2 full years at Georgia. So that's not right. All right. So Carson Beck has a relationship with Todd Monken. So does Ty Simpson, which still is floating around. That would be pick number 24. I don't think Browns fans would be very happy with that, because most Browns fans are like, look, take a wide receiver, take an offensive lineman in the first round in whatever order that's going to be in. Whether it's at 6 or 24, take one of the two, and then with the other pick, take the other one. Understandable. Now, I will say this, at 24, wide receiver could get pretty interesting, because a lot of these guys are going to be gone by 20. You know, a lot of people are just doing make this easy. Carnell Tate at number 6. Personally, I like offensive linemen higher. You know, Monroe Freeland, what looks like a true left tackle, could end up being sneaky. You know, I don't know. I would think about that. Remember, everybody was like, I don't know. Kelvin Banks, he looks like a 15-year starter with the Saints right now. Yeah, Josh Simmons and the Chiefs, that guy's an actual good left tackle. He's got some off-the-field issues, but when he plays, he looks like a good one. So, anyway, there you are. Snoop Huntley off the list. By the way, a lot of smoke around Dillion Gabriel getting traded. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.